Hey, so it says we are live and I'm loving it. So, I've got to hit go live on Instagram. I was just on a podcast earlier today and we were talking about why that is. And my host was speculating that it's just in need of an update. Why you've got to hit go live on Instagram separately and hoping that an update fixes that. And I don't know if it's that way or if it's on purpose because every platform seems to want to be the only platform you broadcast on, but that doesn't matter. Today, I just wanted to talk for a minute about that question. What do you do? Now, if you own a business or you're running a business of any kind, or you're a consultant or you're a coach or you run a bricks and mortar, or maybe even if you work as an employee in any one of a number of jobs, you get asked all the time, what do you do? Who are you? What are you? Some version of that question. Now, if you own a business or are an entrepreneur of any kind, then you are intentionally networking often, and you're always marketing to some sense, although in recent years, that word has come to mean something completely different for me. I never market anymore in the traditional sense of marketing. But, we often say, well, I'm an accountant. Well, okay. Or we say, I'm an attorney, or I'm a painter, or, I'm a painter. We don't even know if that means an artist. Oh, yeah, no, an artist. Or a painter. I have a client who owns a commercial painting business. So him being a painter means he's a painter. He also does commercial flooring. So what do you do? We often associate with our profession. And sometimes when people say, who are you? Who are you? You go around a room, who are you? And then the closest we come to even saying that is our name, which is a title that we were given a birth or that we chose for ourselves. And that isn't really who we are either. That is a sound that comes out of our mouths that we've associated with our entity. I want to talk about who we are on a much deeper level. And maybe this comes partly from the podcast I was on this morning, which I put on this page. The truth is, who am I? I'm a being inside this skin bag that was created by love, by the divine. So are you. We're that. Now, there are times in my life, at least, where I've lost sight of that. And I've argued with it and felt ignored and everything else. And I don't want to talk about that today just because it's not the topic. I want to talk about how useful and joyful it is to choose who you are, to choose that. Not for marketing, not for any other reason than to exercise ownership of who you are. Like, who are you? Most of us don't give that thought. We might think, I'm going to go to school and learn how to be an auto mechanic or an accountant, and so then we think that's it. And we associate our identity with a set of activities having to do with numbers or the law or building or something else. And again, that's not who we are. So I want to issue you an invitation today. This is going to be a short one today, because my page is full of stuff. A podcast was broadcast and LA Talk Radios this afternoon. And if you're available at 4 p.m. Pacific, 5 Mountain, 6 Central, 7 Eastern, you ought to watch that. I've got a special guest, David from New York, who is fabulous at creating community and at helping people create a life after, being a corporate refugee. Anyway, who are you? I would advise you, or I don't advise you anything, suggest that it might be worth the time and effort and energy to create who you are intentionally, to make a decision, and then, and maybe you're not going to get it right the first time. You'll say different words and they'll feel clumsy and awkward. At least I did. So I want to tell you something about who I am, because people ask me that all the time, and they do because I have a lot of guests on my podcast, and because I'm a guest on a lot of people's shows. Why am I doing that? Well, I'm doing that because my commitment is to reach 300 million people. My year started October 14th, 4 weeks ago. My commitment's to reach 300 million people, to help you realize who you really are, to help you create wealth and impact with the most powerful version of yourself. Like, you know what it's like to be a good version of you and a sucky version. We've all done that a bunch of times. So as I think about who I am, I have a thing that I've written, and I want to share it with you and see if it makes sense to you. Now, you know that I'm a coach. And what is a coach? Well, a coach is a person who helps an athlete go from where they are to the next championship, from a weekend warrior to some championship, to the states, to the nationals, to the worlds, to the Olympics. A singer who wants to go from, local community stuff to performing in larger venues and maybe a record contract and maybe a Broadway, an actor who wants to get more exposure and be on more stages. Those are all things that a coach does. And I would broaden that to say a coach is a person that I hire, that you hire, when I want to make great progress fast. When I want to get from where I am to where I want to be, and I want to get it done with less trial and error, and I want to get it done faster. So let's just think about this, and I'll share this with you and see if it makes sense to you. So how even though you've created success and maybe people say you're awesome, you still sometimes feel scared and small inside. Many days are full of confusing challenges, and there's no real joy. Fear seems to have all the power. Procrastination and self-sabotage are next in line. Sometimes you end up empty or screaming at the sky, what's wrong with me? Maybe you start believing you'll never make the impact or the money you want. You make more promises to yourself and your business. You bust your butt to get them done, and it's never enough. So you buy programs, read books, go to workshops, and go at it again, and still no victory dance. You feel frustrated, question your value. Maybe you blame everyone and everything and want to quit. Well, the main problem is you've been taught from the cradle that you're not enough. Childhood experiences, grades, friends, trauma, abuse, hidden struggles, jobs, failures, and more just drive home this pain. You end up with a deep belief you'll never cut it and a ceiling of steel that seems to stop every climb. Your inner critic is the loudest voice in your head. And you drink the poison that says you're only as good as the judgment of others. And the standard advice to grind harder and take massive action keeps failing. And you end up living in fear, fueled by maybe a feeling that oblivion, guilt, resentment, and shame are your destiny. We both know that endless treadmill leads to empty mediocrity at best, and frustration, depression, ruined relationships, addictions, personal and business meltdowns, or worse, if left unchecked. There seems to be no way out. You see others who win, and somewhere inside you know it could be different, but it never ends. What if you knew exactly what to do to totally change the game? You eliminate fear and obliterate doubt. Every shout of your inner chorus cheers you on. You set goals and commitments you keep without fail. You discover tools you already have, an incredible power you already control but aren't using. Imagine the growth in your wealth, health, relationships, happiness, and self-image as you master these things and create every single thing you desire. I am the ultimate alchemist who can show you the science and the magic that gives access to your personal tools and power, and then demonstrate how to use these precious gifts of liberation and creation, and then help you completely change your life trajectory so you can create your ultimate life and enjoy purpose, prosperity, and joy at a level that today maybe you can barely conceive. That's who I am. I would love to know who you are. I would love to hear the truth of your inner yearnings and desires and what you are doing and adding to the world right now. I'd love to hear that and to get to know you. What I know for sure is that the only limits that we have are the ones that we create and allow to remain. I love you as you're an amazing person. I'll see you tomorrow.